What's up, guys? Today we're playing Epic 7, and today we're on a subscriber account. Somebody help! I just love saying that. I don't know why. In our last video, we went and did some W13 speed team and a C13 speed team. If you want to check out how that went in my farming, I'll flash those up on the screen right now. I'm averaging about 1 minute and 35 seconds for W13. We can further improve that by adding a little bit more effectiveness to our heroes to make sure we hit that 65 mark. Also, Mui, only level 50. I actually didn't realize it until after I was done filming it, but we can take him up to 60, and that'll help you out with some damage. On the C13 team, pretty much good to go. We can add an artifact to Sinful Angelica to add a little bit more damage. That way we get the kill on the Lorena turn instead of getting the kill onto the Camilla turn, but otherwise working out fantastic. Now today we are going to continue that by now going in and building some PvP heroes. I'm also going to talk a little bit about Labyrinth, which I think is very important, and I can't wait. Let's go in and get started. There are a few things I noticed about how this player plays, and I thought I would bring that up here. Now, we're in Unrecorded History, and when we look at the AP shop, we see the most AP I've ever seen. 55,000. I posted one time a video, and I had like 20,000. Not even close to this, right? 50%. And people were freaking out. 55,000? You have Catalyst for days. Every one of you should be plus 15, right? That is the most I've ever seen. That's awesome. But when we come into now the inventory, and let's go to enhance ingredients first. If you don't know, we want to sell these epic penguins here. So we're going to click arrange, and we're going to sell these guys, sell them all, because we get a bunch of gold, but also we're going to be getting these silver transmit stones. So I never use the epic level penguin to do any leveling up. The other ones you can use, those ones make sure that you get rid of. Now I want to go into, I think it's somewhere around here. Let's go to currency. We can see that this person is doing a lot of the story, which is awesome. Definitely do the story. Now, when you're going in and doing the story, make sure you're using the max level heroes. That way you get a lot of stigma. Now, what I'm not seeing on this account is all that stigma. Where is it? We only have 84,000. We should have basically over 100 level 60s or millions and millions and millions of gold for all of the unrecorded history and the side story that we're doing. So that's what I would recommend. Going in and buying the spirit blooms from your sanctuary, very important. Also, just as important is buying the epic or buying the penguins, right? The times 10 penguin. Now, Smilegate, if you're listening, give us a times 100 penguin. Man, I don't want to sit there all day long. Let me summon 100 penguins at one time. That would help out a lot. In our last video, we talked about the Conquest Shop and how you need to try and get as much Conquest points as you can in order to buy out the equipment. Now, someone asked me, what do I focus on? Where do I buy it? What do I do? And that's a great question, so I'd like to address that now. The very first thing is that when we look at Conquest, this is a currency from the arena. You can also get it using the War Dispatch mission, so you need to be doing War mission and Hunt mission because those are the two. I guess they are currencies that you can't really get easily, or you can't get anywhere other than Labyrinth and to Arena. Then we need to do all the NPC battles. That's going to give you Sky Stones and also Conquest points. They're super easy and you can burn them down super fast. Then every single week you need to be doing Arena. It doesn't matter if you win or you lose. If you don't want to play, that's totally cool. Pick one guy and just lose to him 100 times a week, and you're going to get 400 conquest points with basically out even trying. Burn all your flags from your friendship purchase, and then all the flags that you are getting naturally as you are gaining them throughout the day. Then we want to focus on the Molagora and the current season rewards, of course, but you're going to have some extra conquest points. We don't want to buy the energy until after you've purchased all the gear. But what gear should you focus on? This warfare season is level 67. Do not buy this. This is before we had level 85 gear. This is way old. It's totally awful. Don't purchase it. I really wish they would just get rid of it so that people don't make the mistake of buying it. Then when we come down into honor season, we can see that now we have gear that is a little bit older. We see 31, 32, sometimes 33 gear score right here. Some of this is 70% off, making it pretty cheap to buy. But when we look at further seasons down, the Conquest season is when they changed how level 88 gear rolls. Before Conquest, we're going to see a reduced amount of substats. It's not going to roll as good as Reforged level 90 gear. Conquest season and below will roll better, and you can kind of tell by looking at the gear score. When we look at this, we're going to see pretty much all 36s. We're going to see probably, well, I guess there was one or two 33s, but most of it is going to be a higher gear score. And this is when it changes from the resolution where we're getting a high of 33. So we get 31s here, 32s. Now we have a minimum basically of 33 as we go down further. So this is where I would focus. Now this season's going to end in about a week. Wait for the new season to start. That's going to make this an extra 10% off. Every 10% is going to be 1,000 conquest points saved if you buy all 6 pieces. So that's what I would do. Start with one that has a good percent off conquest and below, and then start to buy those. That's going to give you some good gear that you can roll that you're not going to regret and that you can use in today's meta. Moving now on to the Labyrinth before we go into the actual hero builds. Now, this player has all the Labyrinths completed, which I think is amazing because you get a lot of gear. That level 78 gear you might not use on your end game, cleaving Arbiter Vildred. Just kidding, that's like so 2 years ago. But you can still use it onto your world boss heroes. You can still use it on expedition heroes. You can still use it on hunt heroes. We have a level 50 Mui who has a 90+% uh, success rate into W13, and he's basically just using everyday gear that we got from these hunts. Now, what I see this player doing is they're using their compasses to turn into bug charms, and that's pretty good. But I think that they have so many bug charms that really you need to transition. You don't need more than I think like 10 bug charms every single month, so make sure you're buying them. But if you have excess Labyrinth Compass from the purchase of the Guild Compass and also just generating them, go in and do your Labyrinth. Come in, go into Malicious Consciousness or Nixie's Sanctum, and pick a team that is going to have a very high morale. That way you can do a ton of battles. Now, I looked up the highest morale on this team, and it's actually going to be a Champion Zerato, Zio, and then we are going to get Kron. Pretty awesome. So this team using the camp with Kron is going to give you 49. Not the highest I've ever had. I've had 54 before, but with the heroes that they have, this is going to give you an amazing morale. So you can go into any one of these old ones, just auto battle through it, and go and get a lot of the ancient coins. You will probably get around about 300 ancient coins for every one of your compasses. So that is going to help you to now buy charms from the shop and level up your accessories. Now, this player is going in and beating their Hell Raid every single month, which is fantastic. You definitely need to do this. If you're just fighting Hell Raid, then you can see that you get level 88 gear and it has random substats. So we don't really know what these are going to be. Then when we actually go into the Hell Raid, we are going to be able to go to the shop now and spend our currency, which is the whole reason why we're doing it. When you're just doing normal Hell Raid, the drops, I mean, they can be okay, but they really don't matter as much as the shop does. Everything in this shop is fantastic, but what I want you to focus on are the first 4 things. This equipment is some of the best in the game. We see that we have a starting value of 42. It does not get higher than that. You cannot have a better start than this. For example, on this chest plate, if it rolls all HP and defense, I mean, HP defense can be usable on every one of your knights, every one of your soul weavers. It doesn't even have to roll a bunch into speed to be usable. A 5 speed on every piece, right? That's going to be what? 5 times 5 is 25, plus you'll get something like another 25 from speed set, plus 40 from speed boots. That's 220 speed on most of your heroes that have like a 115 starting value. So you don't have to roll speed to have an amazing hero. If it rolls a lot in a crit chance, HP defense, well, we have a lot of heroes that use that. We have Shu, we have the MLU Fiend, we have like a bunch of heroes like Brieg, the heroes that can do really well, that have a lot of damage based on health or a lot of damage based on defense, and they're going to love this piece. And immunity, very good into RTA. Now, the ring is amazing, but you don't need a ton of these, right? You only need a few of them to make sure you get the effect resist up to 200 on a couple of different heroes. When we look at the weapon, this is going to be fantastic, especially for newer players, because you're going to be able to now have access to a speed weapon that can roll amazing. This thing can roll 20, 25 speed, no problem, and you won't have a better weapon starting out. Now, the necklace is really what I'm excited about. This necklace is amazing, especially for players who don't have access to C13. Now, in our last video, we built a C13 team, and they're averaging about 1 minute 20 seconds per run with a 90% success rate. So, really good. But don't forget about this necklace, which is one of the main reasons why we're doing Hell Ray to begin with. Now, you can come in and buy from Alexa one time every single day. And if you yield here, you will not use your entry token. You can see that we still have 46. Being an endgame player, this guy can come in and do Nightmare mode, which is fantastic. Sometimes people ask me, should I do Hell Raid or Nightmare? And the answer is, if you can do Nightmare, even on one boss, you should do Nightmare for that boss. Everything else, you can go in and do Hell Raid until you're ready to come in and do Nightmare on the other bosses. Now, I posted videos with several different combinations of heroes that you can use so that you can come in and beat Nightmare, or at least get a good idea of how to beat Nightmare. They're not very difficult. A lot of the fights take like 5 minutes, and the rewards are much better. When we were in Hell Raid, we saw that we had 4 random substats. You can literally get gear that's like flat defense, flat HP, effect resist, effectiveness. I mean, what am I going to do with that? But when we come into Nightmare now, we see that we have much better gear. This one, level 42 starting value, fantastic. High likelihood it's going to roll really great, and you're going to be able to use it on one of your heroes. Now, some of this gear, not as good. We see a 37 here. We see a 32. Now, we see that these 32s, right, they don't have max substats like the other one. 777 with a 4 crit. This is the older type gear. You can still roll this, but it's going to roll more like your level 85 without the option to reforge. So if you have the need of this gear, don't be afraid to roll it. But also, we're really going after the 42s, really going after the 37s. These are going to be the ones that are giving us most value. If you can do Nightmare, definitely come in and do Nightmare. Well, that was fun, but now we're going into the hero builds, and I'm sure a lot of you are very interested in this. In our last video, we built a W13 speed team, also a C13 speed team. We can go forward in the future and maybe build a B13 speed team if this guy wants to use now some more counter heroes, but that's going to get you started. We need to farm hunts. Hunts are going to give you more charms. They're going to give you reforge materials. You need this stuff for your level 90 gear. That way you can really pimp out a lot of your heroes to be more competitive. Rift is cool, but that's for people more like me, people who have like thousands and thousands of reforge materials, and we need the gear to use the reforge materials, and not because we need to have more materials for gear that we already have, if that makes any kind of sense. Now, I didn't get a chance to record a lot of the building I did, but we're still going to go over some of the heroes and how I'm going to utilize them over the course of the next week or so. We're going to do some Guild War, if he lets me, and we're going to do some Arena as well. Now we have Angel of Light, and she is fantastic. Barefoot meta, by the way, Angel of Light, man, she's awesome. If you have her, you need to build her, and this is how you do it. I want to be at a 200 plus effectiveness. To do that, you have to run speed with hit set and also an effectiveness ring. We're going to get a little faster and a little more effectiveness after we reforge this, but again, no mats, right? So we have an okay amount of defense, we have an okay amount of health, and you want to run her at 220 speed or 240 plus. At 220, you will be slow enough that the enemy cleanser will probably go first. This means that your Angel of Light now is going to be able to then silence everybody, hopefully including the cleanser, and then you have a free whole round where you can do damage, and all they can do is S1. Now, if you want to run her at 260 plus, then she's better at cutting something like a Ran Cleave, right? Because unless you actually hit the Angel of Light, she's going to get a CR boost, and then she's going to help cut. So I like to run her at 220 or 240 plus. I have her at 244, and she'll get an extra couple here once we get this free forge in. Pretty good hero. Definitely build her. And you know what? She's fantastic on your arena defense if you want to put her on there as well. Abyssal Eui, a lot harder to build, honestly. What I want out of her is 2000 plus defense. You have to have 2000 plus defense for your trauma. So make sure that you at least get to that mark. Then I want 20k health. I want her to be super tanky. That way she can't be killed very easily before she gets off her psychopath ex-girlfriend S3 and starts to destroy all of your faces. Then I want to run her at 180 plus speed, 100 crit chance, and 250 plus crit damage. He's stacked with crit damage, which is awesome, but I'm a little bit short on the health. I actually don't use Holy Sacrifice normally, but I left it on here for you. Really, what I want to do is I want to run the Sharknado Charlotte girl. I want to run her artifact because that's going to give you more damage while also taking a little less damage. You can also run her on Proof of Valor. I think it's good. Your whole point of running Abyssal Eui is to try and cycle, try and get your S3, and then boom, boom, S1, S1, and hopefully you kill a couple of guys. Now let's move on to Ocean Breeze Luluka. I actually don't use her that much, but she's super popular, especially onto your arena defenses. Now, if you're going to run her, I like to run her at 100 or more effectiveness and somewhere around 150 plus effect resist. Then, if you can get her to 225, I think it's pretty good here, and I have her onto Guardian Ice Crystals. Any one of your artifacts that helps her heal more or is going to help you cycle more, I think is going to be good. This is a proper good Luluka that can be used into a lot of content. But you know, I run a lot of standard, and so when I'm typically running Luluka, I run like a knight and a healer, and so she's not my favorite unit to use, but you had her built. This is a better way of building her, and I think she's going to work out for you. Now let's go into Zeo. I am passionate about Zeo. Y'all don't know. Zeo is awesome. He's probably one of my most used units. This week, I'm going to start taking him into Guild War. He's going to be fantastic. At 255, you're going to outspeed 300 speed Ran. No problem. At 265, now you're outspeeding like 315. No one really has higher than 320 Ran. 265, and you're pretty much guaranteed to run the fastest unit in the game. And I mean, let's be honest. Most of us, we're not going to see a 320 Ran at any point in our game. So at 260, 265 is a very good speed. Then you have to run him at 50% crit. You see I'm a little bit short here. And look at this. I'm running 200 effectiveness Zeo. This is because we're going to do a form of cleave. A lot of you don't have a 300 speed knockwall. You don't have a 315 ran. You don't have an amazing Payra that you can bust out. And if you do, you probably only have one. Zeo, we're going to use him to come in and now start our cleave. And it's going to be fantastic. Now, he does have a New Year's festival souvenir for leveling up his friendship. We're eventually going to evolve this into a different kind of artifact. A lot of people run a book. This player only has 2 max books, so maybe we don't want to sacrifice one for Zeo, depending on our other heroes that we build. We're going to find a nice artifact that we can run onto our Zeo, and he's going to be super awesome. Now we look at Rwana. I showed Rwana in my last video, and she was not as tanky as this. So I upgraded her gear just a little bit, and I put her onto Celestine. This is going to be better for you because she's going to be able to heal on her S1. We don't care as much in our arena auto team for debuffs as we do healing, because most of her healing is going to come from her passive ability. Now let's give her a secondary level to heal. If you can run her onto counter set, that's pretty good. Not as cool when you get into Sirmia, but that's pretty good as well. Lone Crescent Balona, also a little bit hard to build. I think she's good. I think she's good. I think she can be better. We want to run about 3,500 attack, and we're going to get some more if we get some imprint concentrations. Then I want 14 to 1,500 defense, 18k plus health. 180 is good. We don't need this crit chance, and then go for 300 crit damage. If you can get a pen set is awesome, and I love to run mine onto Sigurd's Scythe. She is fantastic, especially with the changes to her Soulburn S1, an amazing unit. This is how you properly build a Lone Crescent Balona who's not going to die and is going to surprise people with how bulky she is while still doing 10-20,000 damage on a Soulburn S1. Earlier in this video, if I don't edit it out, and in a lot of my videos, we talk about the free gear and its potential. This is a level 50 Mercenary Helga. All I need is someone to hold this because I'm running out of space, and look at how awesome her stats came out. Only level 50, but she came out perfect. You don't need to have gear that is all level 90 reforged to have very awesome usable heroes. This hero can be pulled into Expedition. They can be pulled into Hunt. They can be pulled into a lot of things, and they're going to work for you and help you clear it. If you're doing Ancient Inheritance, Helga, she's right here. She's awesome. Now she gets a 50 effectiveness here from her buff on her S number 3. So you want about a 35. That way you have a max chance to land her defense break when you go into Expedition. And you know what? We can probably get that right here once we reforge this piece. This one didn't roll amazing. I want to have a 74 when I reforge it. This one came out to a 67. But look at this. 21 crit chance on a crit chance set. You have to reforge that. That is fantastic. Keep it just how it is. Reforge it. You're definitely going to use that pretty much for the rest of your E7 career. One thing I hear a lot is people watch videos and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to run so much speed. All I'm rolling for is speed. And then you kind of end up with these heroes that maybe you're fast, but they're broken, and maybe you just get burned out on rolling for speed. If you have a Zeo, 260, 265, and he's going to be fantastic. Now I have some favorited heroes here. Then I have some heroes coming in at 260, 270. This is going to be a category that you need to improve. You don't need to have all your heroes challenging for 300 speed. If someone drafts a 300 speed Ran against you, well, I'm just going to go full counter cleave after that, right? Go ahead, try and cleave me. I'm going to pull in every one of your nightmares, and it's going to suck trying to cleave me. You don't always have to challenge for speed. But when you go into something like Arena, when you go into something like Guild War, we want to have a good arsenal of 260 to 280 speed heroes versus what people think they need to run at 300 speed. Now this one here is a Conqueror Lilius. If we wanted to run her as fast as possible, then you know what is that going to give us? That's going to give us something like this, and we'll get some speed here. Let's go ahead and just pretend that we're going to be running all of these super fast things, and we get to 287. It's not bad. You can run this. I would rather have 262, or maybe slightly improve this a little bit by removing this, run 270. at 270 speed, you're going to outrun most of the heroes that aren't dedicated openers, right? You're not going to outrun something like an Assassin Sid, but you're definitely going to outrun someone like an Aiden. It's going to give you that first turn anyway without having that 300 speed. Well, what I would like to see here is more effectiveness if you can. Try and get over 100% effectiveness. That way you don't get resisted by the random mid-range ER person that just sort of has some stats, but they're not really intending to go full ER. You're not going to debuff a Kayron, but if there's a little bit of resistance on the enemy Soul Weaver or the enemy, RV or something like that, then you're probably going to get to them. If you want to push back a Sirmia who has that now effect resist buff, then you need to have enough effectiveness to be able to push them back, and about 100 is where you can do it. Now on this one here, this person has 45 and they have the border coin. Better would be to come in and get championship trophy like this, and that's going to give you an extra 15%. So don't forget about the artifacts. Some of these artifacts will help you reach that goal of effectiveness while not significantly changing your build. But I would like to see this uh, Conqueror Lilius get to 270, 275, then get to about 100 effectiveness, and that's going to be fantastic. Now, I'm not going to gear her out this very second because I don't like spending gold to re-gear heroes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make note of the notes that I want to change, of the gear that I want to change, and then I'm just going to change it all at the same time when I come in and get my next free unequip. Now let's move on to everyone's favorite plague, Death Dealer Ray. He is everywhere right now since his buff, all the way up into Legend, RTA, or whatever the heck you call it in the top 100 players. He has everything. He's super cool. He's got like a Severus Snape alchemy kind of vibe going on for all you Harry Potter fans. He has great voice acting and great animation. I mean, the only thing wrong with him is that Frida Wolf didn't do his voices, but you know what? I mean, we have enough Frida Wolf, so I guess that's a pass. What we want to run at a Death Dealer Ray is like 230, 240 speed. Then we want about 150 effectiveness. 100 is okay. We can put a effectiveness artifact onto him, and he's going to be absolutely cool. So let's see if we can get that high. I'm going to start out just by going ahead and doing some of this and some of this and some of this and seeing what we get. Hey, that's actually really not bad. Let's try and go for a little more effectiveness here. 176. Dude, you got a Death Dealer Ray on your hands. Now I want something that's going to be speed onto the ring and onto the helmet that is hopefully not going to be, let's do this one. Hopefully not going to be too awful for us. That one we're going to go with Conqueror Lilius. Actually, do this one Conqueror. Do this one onto him. And let's find one more speed piece around here, or I can swap out these boots for something else. Speed, speed, speed. Here we go. This actually is pretty darn good. I like it. I think we should go with this. He's pretty tanky, 14, 1500. I want to get about 20k, but you're at 240 now, and you have good effectiveness. I like it. I like it. Let's go with Death Dealer Ray. So now that we have our Death Dealer Ray build, a lot of people run him with Sharon, and I don't think I've touched Sharon, so let's see what she looks like. Okay, she's not bad. I think I actually pretty good. Pretty good. I would want to switch out her artifact, maybe a hit set artifact. So she's got 75, plus she'll get 50 from our Death Dealer Ray. And then if we can give her her own artifact, I don't think we have it. She would work well on her own artifact, or maybe even this artifact, where she can get a little more effectiveness. I think that that would be pretty good. That way, when people hit her, she's going to counter, detonate all of these injury, toxin, plague things, and it's going to be amazing. Let's switch gears a little bit here and look at, I think we want to look at Tywin. Now, Ambitious Tywin is another hero that got a buff. You can run him two ways. When we look at his S number 3, he is going to do damage to all enemies with an 80% chance to stun. If you soul burn it, you can do this every 2 turns, which is fantastic. So you can run him as a purely a debuffer, like full HP and effectiveness and speed. People also, what they do is they are running this as an AoE attack by doing damage increase proportional to caster's max health. So sometimes what people do is they are running him into a lot of damage. So they're going high this, a lot of this, and a lot of that. And then now, well, that's not great. We need to go with some crit damage here. Okay, not bad. We want to get to about 200 speed. Otherwise, okay. It's because we're missing the speed set here. Let's go back and change our parameters slightly. This gives us a good starting point. We see 211, 20k, 86, and 269. So you can now soul burn every single attack, AoE damage, and now you have all these chances to stun. The problem is that when you have to be enraged, when you're enraged, you ignore effect resist, so we don't need the effectiveness here as long as you can continue to get hit and as long as you can continue to be enraged. Pretty good. Also, we have to understand that it's not going to work against something like Moonlight Landy or even a Dark Corvus because they're immune to stun. I think Mort is also immune to stun. Now, another way you can run him, and this is pretty good, I might run him this way, is that you can come down now. I'll just reset this hold. And you can run him real fast, just like this. Yeah, very nice. So now we have big and bulky and fast. We can still do the soul burn onto his S number 3 and make sure that we have that 80% chance to stun or whatever it is. And if he's enraged, again, ignores effect resist, so we don't need the effectiveness. Now, what we have to decide is, do we want to run him like this? Or do we want to come in and pick up a different debuffer? If we go with someone like Leia, right? She's down here somewhere. I can never remember what the heck she is. I promise she's in here. There she is. Leia, very easy to build, but you would build her the same way as that Tywin, right? She doesn't need to have effectiveness. She doesn't need crit or crit chance. You'd run her between 230 and 240 speed. Then we would want to run her at 25k or more HP. If you have anything left, it can go into the effect resist. Let's see if this gets any better. It really doesn't. Let's go and check on our health. Do we have anything that's a little bit faster? This one pretty good, but maybe not on this guy because it has the crit chance there. If you get a little bit of wasted stats, that's all right. I rolled this one actually this morning. Even the owner of the account hasn't seen this yet. This comes from the Ancient Inheritance. Look at that. Penta roll health. If I knew it was going to be cool, I would have filmed it. Penta roll health. Amazing. And you can stick it right here onto Leia. She is really big into the meta right now, Leia. And honestly, I mean, she's good. She's good. She is a cleanser, and she does pretty well onto attacking. This one's a 34. We'd probably have to come in something more like this. Now we're getting closer to that 25k. These ones not going to work, but this is the ring I was going to put onto Lilius. I think I like it. I do. 39. Wow, that's a great piece. Good job on that one. We're going to get a little bit more once we reforge this piece here. It'll look more like this. This one's 28. That one's 28. This one is 21. You have quite a few defense pieces. But I lost it, so let's see if we can get that back. 28. Here's our 12. Now that's going to be 12 plus the flat there. So it's going to go to 15. That'll put us to almost 25. I think it's pretty good. What we have to decide, though, is uses some of the same gear as we would have put onto the Tywin. Which one do we want? Do we want to run Leia? Do we want to run Tywin? Maybe we can build them both, but most likely, you're only going to build the one. One hero I did forget about was Airwell. I don't know how we can forget about her. I decided that you needed a better Airwell, so we've come in and we've built one for you. This one is 15k defense, 25k HP, 159 speed. Now the speed doesn't matter so much because she boosts her own CR, and we have 200% effect resist. You could try and put on an artifact that gives you effect resist. You could also try and go to 250, but honestly, I don't really see it. This is going to be a great Airwell. That's going to help you with the escort buff. She's going to be able to come in now and stun on targets that are 160 or 177 or less percent effect resist, which I think is pretty good. And she's going to protect you against critical hits, which is also good. Now you can switch her artifact if you want. You can put on like Hildag Lance if you want and help boost up her CR, but she's going to work really good. Now let's come in, and I notice you have a Doris. Why aren't you using Doris? If you go into Guild War and you see an A Ravi, which is really popular in the lower level Guild War, then we need to have something Magic Scholar Doris. Now what I want is 20k or more HP, 1500 or more defense, around about 170, 180 speed, and anything else can go into effect resist. That would be totally cool. So let's see what we can kind of get. I can't wait, actually. She's going to be good. She's going to be good. She's going to tank out those Ravis all day long. Now we see some speed gear here, but I don't want to use that speed gear because I wanted to pull this into our other heroes. So let's see what else we can do. Let's see if we can pick something like HP, defense, resist. Okay, not bad. 16, 20, 175, 125 here. I like it. That's pretty good. I would rather use this onto someone who needs to have critical hit, but you know, I'm not willing to go and see if there are any different pieces, and we don't. I don't want to strip this one or this one. Let's see if we can switch this out a little bit and go with like an immunity set. 16, 20. Okay, that one's pretty good. I like this one, 16 and 20. Let's try one more time and go with health, immunity, defense now. 16, 20 is what I have before. About the same, but I want to pull in this defense set onto someone else. So I think we're going to go with this. Let's check real fast if we have any more that can give us more health here. I don't think that we do. Okay, this one seems to be okay. Oh yeah, let's do that. Swap that one out. Now we're at 21. Leave those ones alone. Let's leave this one alone as well. We don't need her to be super fast. Let's go with health. Okay, we don't have a lot here. Oh, I see, because we have immunity. There's that immunity piece. Again, we want to go with health. This one has crit chance and crit damage. Okay. All right, that's not too bad. Honestly, we're not going to use this on anyone else. Even though it has crit chance and crit damage, we're not going to use this. piece on any other person. Maybe you would use it on something like an Arya. Arya comes to mind. I'm not certain we're gonna do that though, because Arya would probably be closer to like a. She'd probably be closer to a defense ring. And this one here, let's see if we can get some health onto a speed. What is this? It's immunity. I'm seeing a lot of these flat HP things. Do not roll these flat HP. We see this one here is 2,800 and she has 59. That's 6,000. Let's make it easy math. 50%. That means you're losing out on 15% automatically from 65 to 2,835. No one is going to use your flat HP, flat defense, or flat attack onto rings, onto necklaces, or onto your boots. Now we can probably hide some of this gear since we already have it, but because we're using a flat HP, it has to be on a speed set. So keep that in mind when you're rolling your speed sets, and this is mostly for the owner of this account or anyone who has these flat main stats, you must have your speed set with your flat HP or boots. That way you can still get to that 180 to that 190 while being tanky enough to be able to withstand attacks and fast enough that you can still cycle. But anyway, I think we're going to go with this. I like this one quite a lot. I would like her to be maybe a little bit faster, maybe like 180, but that's not too bad. I have one piece that I can reforge here that will be okay. You can modify this into effectiveness if you want. I don't think so. Probably just leave it into the flat attack and keep it like that. And I think she's going to be able to use it. I actually had a random thought just now. Why not hide one of these pieces onto my Magic Scholar Doris? She's still going to be great, and we can take one of these flat HP, even though it's not amazing, and we can make it very usable on our Magic Scholar Doris. So the main purpose is to tank things like a Ravi, right? And so what we want to do is we want to have that decent defense. 1700 is good. Now we have 20k. We're at 170 and 100. We're going to put her onto the Water's Origin. That's going to help her cycle, and we still have a very, very good Magic Scholar Doris. And look at her. She's happy. She is enjoying life. We can reforge a couple of these pieces. That will make her even better. That's probably further down the road, but still, I'm loving it. I'm pretty happy with this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. My channel is nonprofit, so all the revenue from this video and all my videos benefits the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, and you can find links on my channel page or in the video description. Give me a like so other people just like you can find that as well. Until next time, happy hunting and good luck on your battles.